I haven't seen a car in 50 miles.
Can you drive this thing or not? We wouldn't get 2 feet, man. What do you want me to do? And it was hard, like petrified wood, like to preserve them or something. I got them all stitched together like some kind of, well, just get a flashlight. Come on, get a flashlight. Back on the bus. You just said they shouldn't.
I know what I just said. There's something going on out here. I don't like it. Just stop.
Hello everybody, I am Lizardmon and this is Jeepers Creepers Reborn in 15 minutes or less. Jeepers Creepers Reborn was directed by Timo Varasola and has an IMDb rating of 2.4 out of 10 and a popularity rating of 23, and I don't think that's a good 23. We open up the movie to a wonderful old couple right before we see this weird looking effigy. They then see a truck driver behind them where he mistakes the license plate for saying beating you until he realizes that it's actually saying be eating you. But if you look at the window, it's just some angry truck driver dude. After seeing the same truck dump what looks to be a body inside of this basement, he then begins to floor it as the truck is now chasing after them again. But luckily, old dude's got some moves and steers the car off the road. The husband then decides they need to go down to the local gas station to call it in, but in trying to remember the license plate forgets what it says. As they then leave the area they turn down, they notice the same truck is now swapping license plates. The husband Ronnie then decides they need to stop by the house to try to see exactly what was in that sheet so they can tell the cops exactly what's going on, to which the wife replies turning a blind eye is not an option. But I'm sorry, if that was me and my wife in that car, there's no way that we're stopping back at that house. They then look down and see all the bodies, and it turns out this entire thing has just been a video that Chase, one of the main characters, has been playing on his phone. We then get a little bit more of an insight into Chase's character, as he seems to be somewhat of a conspiracy theorist, and Lane just seems to think he's ridiculous. But we learn that they are on their way to some sort of festival for all these different conspiracy theories. I also had to include this little video clip here. Just remember this is all I'm saying. We then get the typical backstory where he comes back every 23 years and hunts for 23 days. It also takes the time to reference the prior 3 Jeepers Creepers movies, followed by some terrible CGI right here. Don't worry, this will happen a lot. Lane then vomits in the forest, and above her we see a ninja star from Jeeper the Creeper. As Lane vomits in the forest, Chase texts his mom basically saying how he plans to propose to Lane. We then see this dried up looking dog turd thing as this is the Creeper. We are then introduced to Sam, who is supposedly Lane's gay best friend, and it also seems that Lane might also be pregnant. While at the same time, Sam is now running into the forest because he has to pee, and he certainly runs like Lane's gay best friend, but unfortunately for Sam, he doesn't last too long in this movie. Sorry Sam, hope you got a big paycheck. Honestly, who approved all this CGI in this movie? Chase then gets the idea for them to stop at the voodoo shop with the CGI sign, and not gonna lie, Chase, I'd probably do the same thing. Chase also then finds the dagger of the Creeper in the voodoo shop, and while he's inspecting one of the little models, he pricks his finger on the top of it. But now, Chase has a giant spear. Also, how did he get this spear? If you look back here, it's on the back wall. Did he climb over the ottoman to get there? While asking for directions, Lane finds out that the address is not on any maps, except for the map that the store owner has. The shop owner then makes contact with Lane and sees some sort of a premonition of a baby in a baby carriage with a mysterious figure overlooking it. Chase then gets robbed by having to pay $50 for that stupid map. You already know where to go. Don't buy the map.
Stick 'em up. This is a robbery.
The shop owner then says congratulations to you both, and then says oh, he doesn't know, and says oh, neither does she, implying that she's pregnant. She then makes a mysterious call and says we have a tree bearing fruit and he will be most pleased, before sprinkling some ash on what appears to be some sort of a voodoo doll.
We have a tree bearing.
No, this is Patrick.
The two then arrive at their plantation-style hotel before Chase says he has one more surprise for Lane, indicating that this might be when he pops the question. Lane then tries to call Sam, but we already know he's not answering anytime soon, and it turns out the surprise is them wearing cosplay. And poor Chase seems to be really upset about Lane not wanting to do it, but tries to play it off like he's not. Lane then decides to do it anyways. Chase turns on the TV and there's some sort of audio feedback and it hurts really bad. Don't worry, I'm not going to play it for you though. We then for some reason get this like really weird cosplay costume montage. Like, why did Chase bring so many different costumes? Lane then takes a pregnancy test and it appears to come back positive, and at the same time she gets some sort of vision of the shop owner looking over a baby carriage while a bird flies into the bathroom window. And now we see the Creeper in his signature truck as he gets all his chains and creepy tools together. We are then treated to a carnival that appears to be straight out of the mind of Rob Zombie. This movie is so poorly made that if you look at this scene right here, you see that he already has the wristband on and they're putting another wristband on him. Come on guys, who's checking this stuff? We then see that there are some sort of religious fanatics outside the entrance of this place, but not normal religious fanatics because they even misquote the Bible. Instead of saying he is risen, they say it has risen. We then follow this guy out into the middle of nowhere, and you know there's only one reason that we would ever follow someone out into the middle of nowhere. At least he used them for some target practice to make sure he's not rusty. Chase then sees the more demented version of an axe throwing game, and for some reason some of the tools are the same that Mr. Creeper uses. For some reason the booth instructor gives Lane a demonstration on how to throw, and she apparently nails it first try. She then manages to cut herself on the same tool, but we find out that Chase has like a first aid kit on him at all times, and it turns out there's some sort of creeper draw, and Lane has more flashbacks of that creepy meeting with the baby carriage, but it appears that Mr. Creeper has come back to retrieve his tools now with the blood of Lane on it. We then go into the main tent where they are doing the creeper draw. We learn that the grand prize of the creeper drawing wins the escape room themed like the creeper, and it's the same house that the little figurine that Chase found in the voodoo shop. We then see the person selecting the numbers is the same person from the voodoo shop, and guess who wins? It's Lane, almost like it was planned that way. They then have to sign release forms so that if anything goes wrong, they're not responsible. They then learn that it'll all be filmed and a group of camera people are coming with them to record the entire thing, so get ready to add some to the death counter. And obviously, it seems that the hostess is kinda hitting on Chase, and obviously Lane doesn't like it. But look who's driving them there, it's the guy with the creeper stuff. This just seems like a red flag factory. As they then get into the creepy black van to go out to the creeper house, we see at the same time it appears that Mr. Creeper is on his way someplace himself, that place being the local service tower, as he slams his car into it. We then get to see the shot that they spent their entire budget on, that being Creeper walking away from an explosion trying to look super cool.
Cool guys don't look at explosions. They blow things up and then walk away.
They then show footage that the camera guy was rolling for B-roll that he supposedly caught the creeper on, and it's literally the same footage from the beginning of the movie. Could you not just film a different scene maybe? Even have just reversed it to make it look like he was running a different direction? And for some reason the camera all of a sudden just doesn't work, and of course Lane gets mad because Chase is just spending a ton of time with the hostess. Michael the camera guy now begins to follow this random person out into the middle of nowhere. Sorry, let me rephrase that. Out into the middle of CGI nowhere.
Well, shit.
And now that they're out in the middle of this creepy cemetery, Chase decides it's the perfect time to propose right before Lane gets abducted by the creeper. Way to ruin the moment, creeper. Chase then comes running out of the CGI cemetery shouting Lane. As they're trying to figure out what happened to Lane, Chase says he have to call the police and he's going to go to the house and try to save Lane, right before he trips over the dead body of Michael. You know, for something that only has 23 days to eat every 23 years, he doesn't really eat a whole lot of his victims. We then find Lane is tied to a table, and oddly enough the creeper hasn't eaten her yet, but he is instead cutting open her stomach. The mysterious hooded figures have now trapped the entire group inside of the house as they appear to be in cahoots with the creeper. Chase continues to carry this film with his good acting, and it appears that Mr. Hillbilly wasn't in on this either. All he knew to do was take them to the house. Mr. Hillbilly then fires a shot, alerting the creeper of their presence and stopping him from cutting open Lane. Chase then tells the hostess that it's not an escape room, that it's all just a trap. Also, look, right here, the creeper has a t-shirt, but wait 5 more minutes. For some reason, the creeper struggles with the front door even though it was locked from the outside. But hey, guess what? We found Sam, and the creeper now just decides to SWAT team in through the window instead of going in through the front door. Mr. Hillbilly then tries to shoot the creeper, but that doesn't exactly work out too well. Remember how I pointed out the whole t-shirt thing? Well, this is literally the next scene that the creeper is in. He must be related to Taylor Lautner or something because he just can't keep his t-shirt on. Instead, it turns out that the creeper has some sort of supersonic whistle ability, and Chase just goes ape wild on him, having to literally be separated from him. Sorry Chase, I don't think you're winning that fight. Now that Creeper's arm has been damaged, he just rips it off and eats Sam's and completely regenerates his own. We then cut back to Lane, who's now managed to grab the knife and free herself from her bindings. Carrie has now managed to run off somewhere and they have no idea where she is either. Lane then finds the Creeper's ninja stars and decides to take them with her because she's apparently a pro at using them. I'm entirely convinced that this entire movie was just shot in front of a green screen. Carrie, now being separated from the group, is inside of her room before the Creeper's arm juts through the wall and grabs a lock of her hair and proceeds to just smell it. Yeah, and for whatever reason the Creeper just decides to play a vinyl record of Jeepers Creepers song, because I guess that's what this movie is just really heavily leaning into.
When your eyes look into mine, Jeepers Creepers, where'd you get those creepers?
They then hear steps on the ceiling above them and they immediately think it's the Creeper, but instead falling through the ceiling is Lane, which makes no sense. When did she get upstairs? She was outside. Did she miss them on the way up the stairs? What's going on here? Lane explains to them that it's her that the Creeper wants and that they should just leave her there, but Chase isn't gonna leave her. Jamie then sees a phone in the corner of the room and somehow manages to step right into the middle of a bear trap, and somehow this phone actually works, but of course the people on the other side of the line just suspect that Chase is a stoner and completely ignore all of his cries for help. They then decide there's no other way to get out of there besides to kill it. Lane explains that it's old and decrepit, which means that they must be able to kill it, so they need to trap it. Only Carrie's not going to be part of that plan. They've escaped from it for a moment and find out that they've gone right into what appears to be a shrine room. Lane then gets another strange vision of her in the same room, but blood being poured on her as the mysterious figures surround her again. The Creeper then comes in and we cut back to normal time. We then see as the Creeper takes Carrie into the other room so he can play his music and eat her brain. We then see a voodoo doll of what looks like Derry from the first movie. They then find that underneath the stone in the room that there's also another room filled with dead bodies as they recoil from the scent, and apparently that stone was able to block out all the smells that came from that room. Lane then says, "I will marry you, Chase, and if they ever make it out of there alive." Now they begin to wonder if the people of the town have been feeding it and why there's a shrine there. Oh boy, it's planning time, and also apparently the couple from the very beginning of the movie died also. As the group is setting up their plans, Jamie and Stu go upstairs and see that Carrie's body is no longer there. But Mr. Creeper was hiding in the corner behind them. As Stu and the Creeper begin to fight one another, Jamie says he's got him. And again, the Creeper is now playing that stupid song, and then he gets a fire poker to the wiener, and Stu does us all a favor and destroys that stupid record player with the stupid song attached, and of course this just makes the Creeper really angry. And now it seems the plan is in action as Stu runs down the stairs and the Creeper follows him, somehow missing the fact that his face is right there, but he sees Lane is now standing at the front of the house. As she continues to lure him outside, the other two go back upstairs. Lane now appears to be offering up her child to the Creeper. Now we see as the other two are at the top of the house with a giant eagle thing. Remember that from the beginning of the movie at the voodoo shop? Now this is how you do foreshadowing, fall. Lane then manages to blind the Creeper by throwing the ninja stars right in his eyes. Again, she wouldn't be this accurate. Now Stu and Chase throw off the eagle statue at the top, impaling the Creeper. After doing so, the Creeper's magical powers conduct a swarm of crows to attack the two on top of the house, and Stu falls to his death. As they look back outside, they notice that Jeepers Creepers is no longer impaled on the spike. Instead, he's turned into birds? And luckily, the CGI cops arrive. For some reason, Lane's eyes turn full black and we see the Creepers created by bird vomit. What happened to Lane and Chase? Who knows? For some reason, Lane's eyes just turned black and the Creeper was just reborn. For the plot, it gets a 0.5 from me. There's just so little there to make anything out of. Acting gets a 2 from me because I feel like Chase did a really good job. For cinematography, it gets a -1 because of all the terrible CGI and continuity errors, and no bonus points, leaving us with a final rating of 1.5 out of 10, and a final death counter of 11. Anyways, that's Jeepers Creepers Reborn in 15 minutes or less. If you like the video, please leave a like and subscribe. If you have any other suggestions, please comment them below, and until next time, have a wonderful day.